We've launched and now have active over 1,500 satellites. Let's see. There are a few interesting stats. The combined power of all the satellites.
Elon Musk's Starlink helps the Ukraine. He's a real-life Tony Stark. After the Russian regime targeted the Ukraine military facilities, infrastructure was subsequently knocked out as well. So after the Ukraine government requested for his assistance, billionaire entrepreneur genius and Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk swiftly announced that SpaceX's Starlink satellite broadband service was set to fill the void and help Ukrainians restore their internet. Welcome to Crypto Talk. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video. In response to the bombardment of Russian heavy arsenal on Ukrainian territory, the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, tweeted, "At Elon Musk, while you try to colonize Mars, Russia tries to occupy Ukraine. While your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civil people. We ask you to provide Ukraine with Starlink stations and to address sane Russians to stand." It didn't take long for Elon Musk to reply. Starlink service is now active in Ukraine. More terminals are en route. Elon Musk's Starlink is a network of thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit that provide high-speed broadband internet by connecting with user terminals around the globe. SpaceX launched the first 60 satellites of the constellation in May 2019, and since then, Starlink has developed. Since Starlink is free from traditional internet infrastructure, it can be deployed quickly in isolated regions and areas suffering from natural disasters, or in the case of Ukraine, war-ravaged countries. Starlink is instrumental to the globe. Elon Musk and SpaceX have been dead set on activating Starlink worldwide. So periodically, they've been blasting satellites to inner space to construct the Starlink constellation in order to avail the high-speed broadband internet service as soon as possible. Back in 2015, SpaceX announced that it was developing Starlink. At that time, for millions of experts, it seemed like a pipe dream. Nonetheless, Elon Musk and SpaceX assured the world that it would be the medium to provide internet to all people at all times, no matter the location on our planet. Here are the reasons why experts were skeptical. Elon Musk's Starlink had to launch thousands of small satellites into low Earth orbit. Keep in mind, Starlink satellites weigh 573 pounds each, which is about 260 kilos. The body of each satellite is flat, and up to 60 of them can fit into one of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets. When these satellites are placed in orbit, a single large solar array comes out to power the satellite. The central portion includes 4 powerful antennas for internet transmissions, and each satellite relies on a set of lasers to connect with 4 others in orbit. The satellites also have ion thrusters that use krypton gas, which allows them to maneuver in orbit. So even though the design and efficacy of the satellites were sound, estimates reveal that over 40,000 satellites would need to be space-borne. This is a massively expensive and delicate task. Skepticism continued regarding internet speed. The next question to the great idea and implementation of Starlink was the internet speed. So to assure satisfactory internet speed, Starlink satellites will remain in low orbit, floating around 350 miles above the Earth. Because of that relatively short distance, SpaceX claims the latency should be between 25 milliseconds and 35 milliseconds. That should be fast enough for most internet tasks, including gaming, and users will be able to download an entire movie in just a few minutes. Although SpaceX has yet to confirm what upload speeds will actually be, reports on the early beta tests for Starlink speeds show download speeds between 37 and 60 megabytes per second, with upload speeds between 4.5 megabytes and 17.70 megabytes per second. The progress of Starlink satellites. Although SpaceX gave a press release in 2015 announcing Starlink, the real progress occurred in 2018. As SpaceX launched its first test satellites, which included the first official 70 satellites for the service. The most recent launch took place in mid-November of 2021. and launches have been scheduled for almost every month this year to plant more satellites. So far, SpaceX has put up about 1,844 satellites into orbit. Already, this is another indicator of Elon Musk's strong drive to be productive and overachieve. Because the initial projection of fully functional satellites at this time was set at 1,440 satellites. This accomplishment signifies that SpaceX has completed its first shell of satellites and confirms the brilliance of Elon Musk as a real-life Tony Stark. Yet the end conclusion of the mission is far from complete. The ultimate plan is to have 42,000 satellites in orbit. Already, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has granted permission to SpaceX to put as many as 12,000 SpaceX Starlink satellites in our inner space. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission secured nearly $885 million in grant funds for Starlink at the end of 2020, and since then, Starlink has picked up the pace. Starlink's strides have picked up as in February of 2021. It was announced that Starlink was serving more than 10,000 customers. Then, after expanding pre-orders to even more potential customers, releasing a second-gen home internet satellite dish and exploring the possibility of providing in-flight Wi-Fi for passenger aircraft. Musk confidently admits that Starlink has shipped more than 100,000 satellite internet terminals to customers in 14 different countries. That list definitely includes the Ukraine. And even though Ukraine still has another problem, which is the lack of terminals, Musk is committed to sending additional satellite internet terminals, as he announced via Twitter that more terminals are now en route amid the Russian invasion. Countries have already queued up for Starlink. In previous discussion about Starlink, Musk noted that Starlink would be available everywhere on the globe except the North and South Pole. But for now, Starlink service is currently limited to select regions in select countries. But don't let that get you down. The coverage map is growing considerably as more satellites join the Starlink constellation. According to Tony Stark, Elon Musk, the list of countries currently serviced by the growing network of low Earth orbit satellites includes the US, Canada, the UK, France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Ireland, Belgium, Switzerland, Denmark, Portugal, Australia, and New Zealand. As for the Great Expansion, Starlink's pre-order agreement already includes options for requesting service in other countries too, including Italy, Poland, Spain, and Chile. Moreover, other nations are getting on the bandwagon for that bandwidth, and this will be a total game changer for several developing countries. The Philippines has signed up for Starlink and reached out to Elon Musk for specific details and agreements. And this lovely country known as the Pearl of the Orient unfortunately suffers from lack of internet, as the average internet speed is at 3.64 megabytes per second. Keep in mind that the global average speed is 23.3 Mbps. According to the Ookla survey, which compares and ranks consumer download speeds around the globe, the Philippines ranked 176 out of 202 countries. So Elon Musk has already been in talks with two Philippine telecommunications or communication service providers to launch its ultra-fast satellite internet and rectify that dilemma. Another world superpower that will soon be connected to Starlink is India. It's going to launch in most, if not all, of India, according to reports from subscribers in India. Though the timeline of the service rollout in India has not been confirmed yet, SpaceX did confirm Starlink broadband service launch in India, all of Africa, and even the rainforests of the Amazon in South America. SpaceX is attempting to serve all countries and truly provide global internet coverage, especially to countries like Ukraine that are engaged in an all-out war. What are your thoughts about Starlink and Elon Musk's decision to assist the Ukrainian government? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below after you've tapped that like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching, and be sure to ring that notification bell for the newest videos coming out every week.